Have you ever noticed something strange about yourself? You can know exactly what the right thing to do is, and still not do it. You can promise yourself, this time I'll change, and mean it, really mean it, and then somehow you don't. You eat what you said you wouldn't eat. You say what you said you wouldn't say. You go back to what you said you were done with, and afterward, you're left asking a question that feels deeply personal and deeply confusing. Why did I do that? Not why did I choose that, but why did I end up there again? This isn't a rare experience. It's one of the most universal human frustrations, and interestingly, it's not new. Nearly 2,000 years ago, the Apostle Paul described this exact inner conflict in a way that still feels uncomfortable today. He wrote, "I don't really understand myself, for I want to do what is right, but I don't do it. Instead, I do what I hate." Romans 7:15. Pause for a moment and really hear that. Paul isn't saying, "I don't know what's right." He's saying, "I know what's right, and I still don't do it." That already tells us something important. This struggle isn't about ignorance. It's not about lack of information, and it's not simply about willpower. Because if knowledge were enough, change would be easy. But it's not. Now think about your own life. You know that rest is good for you, but you keep pushing yourself to exhaustion. You know forgiveness would bring peace, but you hold on to resentment. You know honesty matters, but you still bend the truth when it protects you. You know what you want to do, and yet something else keeps pulling you. Paul continues, "For I do not do the good I want to do, but the evil I do not want to do, this I keep on doing." Romans 7:19. This is not the language of free, sovereign control. This is the language of inner conflict. Two forces, two desires, two directions, and you're standing in the middle of them. What's striking is that Paul doesn't describe this as a simple choice problem. He describes it as a system problem. Something is happening within him, something that operates below conscious intention. He even goes so far as to say, "As it is no longer I myself who do it, but it is sin living in me." Romans 7:17. Now, set theology aside for a moment and just observe the structure of what he's saying. Paul is recognizing that wanting is not the same as doing. Awareness is not the same as control. Desire alone is not enough to produce action. There is something already at work inside him, and that matches what we experience every day. You don't sit down and calculate every impulse. You don't consciously manufacture every craving. You don't decide what feels heavy or light in the moment. Those things rise up before you act. By the time you're choosing, the battlefield is already set. This is why so many self-improvement plans fail. They assume the problem's choice. Just decide differently. Just try harder. Just be disciplined. But Romans 7 points to something deeper. The real struggle is not between right and wrong. It's between competing internal forces. Paul says, "I love God's law with all my heart, but there is another power within me that is at war with my mind." Romans 7:22-23. Notice the word law. A law is not a suggestion. It's a governing force. Paul is describing himself as operating under multiple internal laws at the same time. One pulls upward, another pulls downward, and whichever one carries more weight in the moment wins. This explains something many of us feel but struggle to articulate. Why change feels possible in theory, but impossible in practice. Why motivation fades. Why good intentions collapse under pressure. Why the version of you at midnight doesn't behave like the version of you at noon. It's not because you're weak. It's because you're complex. You are not a single unified will. You are a system, and systems respond to forces. That brings us back to the question we've been circling throughout this series. If you were truly free in the way we often imagine, why would this struggle exist at all? Why would wanting not translate directly into doing? And before we even answer that, there's a quieter question sitting underneath it. Where does wanting itself come from? Why do you want what you want? Why does one desire feel heavy and urgent, while another feels weak and easy to ignore? You don't choose your attractions. You don't choose what feels comforting. You don't choose what scares you, or what excites you, or what pulls at you when you're tired. Those wants arrive already shaped, already weighted, and whatever carries the most weight in a given moment tends to win. We'll come back to that, because that question deserves its own careful attention. But for now, notice what this implies. Why would there be a gap between intention and outcome? Romans 7 doesn't solve this tension for us, but it names it. And in doing so, it quietly challenges a very simple idea of free will. The idea that knowing, wanting, and choosing are all the same thing. They're not. Paul ends the chapter with an honest cry, "O wretched man that I am! Who shall deliver me from the body of this death?" Romans 7:24. That's not despair, that's clarity. It's the recognition that the problem runs deeper than choice. And once you see that, the question changes. It's no longer, why didn't I choose better? It becomes, what is actually shaping my desires, my impulses, and my actions? And that's where this conversation is heading next. Because if the struggle isn't simply about willpower, then the solution won't be either. If this video felt uncomfortably familiar, you're not alone. Like the video if this resonated with you. Drop a comment if you felt this same inner conflict. Share it with someone who's wrestled with this too. And subscribe if you want to keep following where this leads. I'll see you in the next one.